The house in which Simon managed to buy an apartment was old and two-story. For the first couple of months Simon only collected old garbage for the dumpster. Mountains of religious literature, some amulets and crosses. They say that the previous owner of the apartment was some kind of psycho, and he was found in mid-February, stiff from the cold, in a room with open windows. A lot of potential buyers apparently didn't like it, and the price kept dropping and dropping. Simon didn't care. He didn't believe in ghosts and was generally distrustful of mystical nonsense. In the end, Simon was left with bare walls and minimal furniture. He put up wallpaper and bought a sofa. He was able to move in and then finish the apartment. Simon moved his things in and had a housewarming party. The first few nights he slept very soundly, heard nothing, and about a week later he woke up to the sound of the intercom. He looked at his watch. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Who the hell was that? The intercom was one of the few things that surprised Simon about the house. A brand new machine, with an external camera and a small screen. Definitely expensive. It was said to have been installed by the previous owner of the apartment, a paranoid man who was afraid of uninvited guests. After the intercom beeped, Simon stared at the screen, but saw nothing. Gnats and moths were flying around in the lantern light. Just in case, he pressed a talk button and asked who was there, but there was no answer. Something crackled in the receiver, dogs barking and the sound of a train. It was a normal summer night. Simon spat and went back to sleep. During the day this incident was forgotten in the pile of things to do, so there was no time to think about what had happened. So the next night he did not immediately realize what had woken him up. The intercom beeped. Simon picked up the receiver, not quite awake yet. Who can't sleep at night? But again there was only the chirping of night crickets and a quiet crackling sound. From then on, the intercom rang almost every night, sometimes several times. It was always between 2 and 4 in the morning. Simon shouted, ran outside, called an intercom technician. All to no avail. Summer was coming to an end and fall was coming. The nights became cold and long. Several nights in a row Simon slept peacefully. No one called him on the intercom, and he thought that was it, the bullies were gone. But they weren't. Another call came at the most inopportune moment. His girlfriend Lika had come to see Simon. Damn kids, he said, walking over to the intercom. The crackle was closer this time, and there was a slight ripple on the screen. Simon listened. He thought he heard a whisper among the static. Stop fooling around, you assholes. He shouted into the receiver and returned to the couch. Now the calls were happening every night and there was more interference. During the day and evening, the intercom worked properly. And the technician confirmed that the device was not broken or shorted anywhere. Several times the calls were made in the presence of strangers. Lika could hear them, but she couldn't distinguish anything but static. Once Jake, who'd stayed overnight at Simon's house because of a fight with his wife, had witnessed the damn thing. The first snow fell in early November. Simon came home late, when all the tenants were already home. The driveway was covered in snow, and his footprints were the only thing that broke the whiteness. Though, Simon stopped in the entryway and nearly dropped the grocery bag. There were footprints lying by the entryway door, several footprints. Little prints of children's bare feet in the snow. Right under the intercom. Looking around, he made sure the footprints didn't lead anywhere. It was as if a barefoot child had come out of nowhere, stomped around and disappeared. Simon took 3 leaps to the second floor, locked himself in his apartment, and drank half a glass of whiskey. He felt a chill of fear inside him, though he wasn't a fearful person. After a little thought, Simon even calmed down. Oh well, footprints. Probably a stupid joke too. Maybe someone was getting back at him. For example, an ex-girlfriend. Simon turned off the intercom just in case and went to bed. But at 3:30 in the morning he was awakened by the intercom ringing. Simon was afraid to go over and look, but overcoming his fear, he went to the door. There was static on the screen, but he thought he saw someone moving. There was an unintelligible whisper, then a song. A thin child's voice came through the static. The hair on his head stirred. Simon hung up the phone and pulled the intercom wire. But before the screen went blank, the child's face appeared for a second. Very pale, with sunken eyes and heavy shadows around them. Simon ran to the kitchen and drank the whiskey from the bottle in one gulp, not feeling the burning from the alcohol. He felt as creepy as he'd ever felt in his life. Waiting until morning, Simon hurried to the psychiatrist's office. The doctor listened to him, prescribed medication and advised him to get more sleep, get some fresh air, and not to eat heavy food at night. And if the intercom is so annoying, it can simply be dismantled. Encouraged by this idea, Simon went home. He took a hammer and started hitting the hated intercom until he smashed the sturdy casing. It was impossible to rip the box out of the wall, but Simon cut all the wires. Even the one that led to the receiver. And some of the parts were now lying on the floor. By evening it was snowing and getting warmer. Simon lay awake, waiting for a call, but the broken machine was silent. He fell asleep in the morning and woke up in the afternoon completely calm. The thaw lasted a few days, and a lot of snow fell. And then the cold came again. Winter came to the city. The continuation follows.